Lord Windgrace versus Yawgmoth Thran Physician. Now, that isn't the best hand, but we could still go in for... We'd have to start off with Bojuka Bog, going for Lotus Cobra, play Vesuva for mana, going to Cultivate. Yeah, we've still got a turn 3 Cultivate there, even with all those tap lands, so let's get on with the game and see how well we can do. We've got a draw to make on our first turn as well. And we do get into a land. That is very nice. So let's... Yeah, we can go in for Lotus Cobra even if we get down a tap land with this. So let's get a red and black source. And then it's Lotus Cobra next turn. We'll go in for Bojuka Bog after that, or maybe even Vesuva. And then we can go Cultivate and go into our commander from there, I think. Well, we're continuing to make land drops, so can't exactly complain. Even if our opponent gets rid of Lotus Cobra here, we will still be able to go for Cultivate next turn. Then a Necro Skitter from our opponent. They're going to be able to steal our stuff. They might also be able to go in for the commander, sacrifice this to put a minus counter on the Lotus Cobra. Wouldn't have thought they would sacrifice Necro Skitter though. We get into Raminat, which is really good with a fetch in the bin. So let's just drop a mount in here. We'll say always yes and yield. Oh, and then I actually meant to add red there. Well, it doesn't matter because we're going to get another land in with Cultivate anyway, so I won't be punished too harshly for my mistake. Let's grab a green and a black. We'll have the green come in. And this time we will correctly make green mana. Because I want to go for crop rotation. And we've got... I'm just thinking of an early Field of the Dead. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, 6 different land names. Yeah, let's just get rid of the mountain and we'll look for something. In fact, we could just go for Wasteland here, couldn't we? Yeah, let's go Wasteland. And we'll add mana again. Let's just go green. Then we'll Wasteland on the Shizo, because I'm scared of our opponent's commander. And then we'll just allow that mana to go away. We can still go in for our commander next turn. We just drop a land, add a mana with Lotus Cobra, assuming it survives. And then we can start doing stuff with Lord Windgrace. Our opponent did have that third mana to get their commander down. And they're going for a really good card with Yawgmoth in Nest of Scarabs. So we need to get a move on here. Let's go for the Swamp. And we'll add red again. And then we'll go for the Lord Windgrace. Then I think we want to progress our mana. So let's go for the -3. And we'll grab a Mountain and a Bloodstained Mire. That will add mana with the Lotus Cobra. We'll go for green a few times. Then we'll go for Rex Sage onto the Nest of Scarabs because it's too good to leave lying around in Yawgmoth. And then I think we can leave our Bloodstained Mire in play. And probably just go in for Gitrog Monster next turn and sack the Bloodstained Mire. They do get into their 4th land though. So we might see Yawgmoth here. Luckily for us, they don't have any sack fodder for Yawgmoth. I'm happy for them to sacrifice their own Necro Skitter if they want to. Alright, Prismatic Omen is good had we have gone for the Vesuva, like I was originally intending. Let's ditch the Bojuka Bog and draw some cards. Alright, there's a Nature's Law, so if we get that down, that'll be 2 mana thanks to Lotus Cobra, so 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Then there's another land. Yeah, let's go for the Nature's Law. We definitely want to get down Gitrog Monster this turn. Make a Bayou with that, and it doesn't matter what colour we make. with the Lotus Cobra. Then down comes Gitrog Monster. We'll be able to make a couple of land drops here. And if we want to sacrifice Vesuva to bring it out as something like a Field of the Dead or a Valakut later on, then we can do that. So it's not permanent once we've gotten Vesuva into play. Let's sacrifice Bloodstained Mire. And we'll draw with the Gitrog Monster. When it sees a land die, it draws us a card. We just get into another land though. I think now's a good opportunity to get some tap lands into play. So let's go Bloodstained Mire. Oh, Blood Crypt, not Bloodstained Mire. And that makes a land with Lotus Cobra. We'll make green. Then go for the Arid Mesa for more Lotus Cobra triggers. You see how good Lotus Cobra is here if you didn't know already. Draw a card with Gitrog from sacrificing the land. And we get into Glacial Chasm. That's probably discard fodder for Lord Windgrace. And now we have no tap lands to get with that, so we'll just grab a Tiger. Make green again. Then we'll go for Ramunap Excavator. Might be playing into a board wipe here, but at least it gets rid of our opponent's commander. Might as well. Now we'll draw another card. I was thinking of getting down Bojuka Bog, but we'll go for the Bloodstained Mire out of the bin. And we'll actually get enough mana to go for Prismatic Omen here. Let's crack that to draw another card. Avenger of Zendikar probably seals the deal. Overgrown Tomb is probably the last tap land in the deck, so we'll get that down and pay no life. And get down the Prismatic Omen. And our opponent decides to leave it there. Yeah, I think thanks to the Lotus Cobra, that did a hell of a lot of work there. And then Gitrog drew us a few extra cards there as well. We've got Ramunap for the fetches in the graveyard. So we can draw... Oh, how much can we do for free with this board state? We can make a couple of fetches, which is a couple of mana. Crack both fetches is 2 more mana for 4 in total. Draw 2 cards off of Gitrog. And that's before we've even started tapping down lands and discarding with Lord Windgrace and all the rest of it. Do all that with an Avenger of Zendikar in play and you've got some really hefty plant tokens. So let's see what we might have drawn into. Yep, just more means of card draw in Tireless Tracker. Multiple lands a turn with Wayward Swordtooth and Mina and Den. So we probably would have rid our library of all lands eventually, thanks to being able to play the fetches over and over again. That was a couple of quick games all piled into one. That's the way I tend to find the Lord Windgrace games, is people tend to scoop early on because they think they see the writing on the wall, which is probably fair enough in most cases. But it's either that occurs with Lord Windgrace or we get beaten and I tend to stick around until my opponent has actually done winning the game so that I can show all of you the deck that's beating us. So apologies for the fast gameplays that weren't particularly interactive, but we got to see how Lord Windgrace operates at least a little bit here anyway. Lord Windgrace versus Golos Tireless Pilgrim. And if we had a green there, I'd be tempted to keep, but we do not. And we're on the play, so I'm just going to get rid of that hand. All of that with an exploration is a good idea, so let's keep. We'll get rid of a tap land. And we'll pass the turn. We can get the tap land out with the Bloodstained Mire, so let's go in for Forest and Exploration. And then we'll get Field of the Dead out of the way now because that's a tap land. So we're online for a turn 3 Lord Windgrace at this rate. Not that we'll have any cards in hand. Just a tap land for our opponent. We're not going to be able to cast Omnath either. We will be able to start triggering Lord of the Dead if we get our Lord Windgrace into play though, because both of these fetches are going to be in the bin. So let's just play both of those out and pass the turn. Alright, but our opponent managing to keep up with a Sol Ring there. Now I'm wondering if they've got counter magic for our commander. Let's get some more tap lands out of the way here. We'll go for a Cinderglade and the Smouldering Marsh as well. Then we get into another land. Let's drop the Reflecting Pool and try our luck. See if we can get past some counter magic. I don't think Golos tends to run much counter magic, but well, we'll soon find out either way. They are holding priority, but Golos is going to allow Lord Windgrace to enter. Now we could discard to draw some cards here. I think that might actually be the more intelligent play. Alright, we get Bojuka Bog. We can get both the fetches out next turn if we want to. Let's play Bojuka Bog because we haven't played a land yet. And then if we can get into Crucible or Ramunap, then we've got Mina and Den for multiple land drops a turn. And if we draw into a land next turn, we can actually go for Omnath and minus down Lord Windgrace. But our opponent has gotten their commander down really quickly as well. They're nowhere near their 5 colours yet though. So they might just be using Golos for fixing here. We do get into that land, so let's play that and start making some, well, zombie tokens as well. I forgot about that. Usually get into Field of the Dead much later than turn 1. What I was going to say is we'll start making some elemental tokens with our Omnath. So we play Omnath, we get Landfall with our Lord Windgrace. Get some fetches out of the bin. That triggers Field of the Dead and Omnath. And now we're pretty safe from board wipes and removal as well, because unless our opponent targets the Omnath away, if there's a Wrath, we'll actually start throwing lightning bolts around thanks to Omnath's ability with those elementals. So considering we've got no cards in hand, we're actually looking pretty good here. If our opponent gets rid of Lord Windgrace, we can just recast it and carry on pulling shenanigans with these fetches. Temple of the False God from our opponent. They've got plenty of mana, but they don't have their 5 colours yet. Still 2 colours away. Got 6 cards in hand though. And then Saheeli, Sublime Artificer. Maybe Golos Super Friends. Don't think I've seen Golos Super Friends yet. Maybe I have and I've forgotten. Looks like that's what this is though. So some lightning bolts from the elementals won't be the worst thing. Gonna pile in everything on Saheeli and Khan, I think. And Khan deciding to make a construct. So let's get some more triggers here. And we'll get our Dryad Arbor. Do we want to draw into that later? I don't think it really matters if we do draw into it later. Let's just get our shocks into play tapped. Triggering Field of the Dead and Omnath each time. And our opponent sees what's likely to occur here. We did shuffle there because the Blood Crypt went in, so we know what card we were going to draw. And that is a Tireless Tracker, so I think ticking down the Lord Windgrace again would have been the play there. We go for Tireless Tracker, and that's even more landfall effects. Just play out Mina and Dem for the sake of it as well, and we could actually probably afford, what would that have been? 4, 5, 6, 7. 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we could have afforded to bounce a land and play it to get even more landfall triggers. And we would have been able to start drawing cards off of the Tireless Tracker clue tokens there. So the next few cards, yeah, we're looking like more lands. Crucible of Worlds and Ramunap are stuck together, ironically. But yeah, with Crucible in play, even with our Lord Windgrace in the command zone, or out of action in one means or another, we can still get our lands out of the graveyard and carry on doing all this nonsense. And whilst Crucible is in play, we actually don't have to minus down Lord Windgrace, and we can start getting up to that limit break of destroying things and creating a bunch of tokens. But there's your third game. I decided to go for another one because I wasn't happy with how the last few games ended, but at least this one was, even though it was another fast one, it was somewhat interesting. So there you are, a triple whammy of Lord Windgrace. Hopefully you all enjoyed that. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.